Hello, fifth grade. Okay, well, let's get this party started. We are moving into part two of our Scream compositions that we've been working on for the past couple of classes. We learned about Edvard Munch, the famous artist who created the pain and the scream. So we've reviewed a lot of concepts and understanding the types of lines that you've been learning about with me since you've been at this school. Vertical lines, horizontal lines, wavy lines, diagonal lines, and really understanding another concept or principle of art, perspective. So, of course, we have pretty much, let me back up a little bit so we can see, we have really been working very hard on this composition, and the results I am so impressed with. So as you can see, you all, we've, understood the horizon line to build our background, really creating movement in our paintings. Um, Understanding the use of curved lines and wavy lines, and really building perspective. So we're going to add a few more details so we can really grasp that concept of perspective, creating movement in our pictures. So of course, last class you all completed the actual garment, the robe, the figure, the body of the figure. And today we're going to focus on the head. This is where you all get creative. And we're also going to work with a different medium today, Model Magic Clay. So let me turn my camera around so you guys can see my tabletop to kind of get us prepared here, okay? All right, we're going to do a little shifting here. All right, I think here we go. Okay, all right, and I'm going to turn the light down just a little bit. Good, there we go. So you guys can see my tabletop a little bit better. Okay, so what you all have on your table is this is just an example of the character, the first character that I worked on. And what I've done is try to make it a little bit easier for you. I've provided you all with a template. So you have a template of the screen. You're not going to write on this. Now, some students, I know a lot of you all are love to freestyle it, and I encourage that. So if you don't want to use the template, you don't have to, okay? But this is a really good guideline. If you notice, we have two sizes. I would recommend using the larger size on your template. Of course, I've done this project several times, and most of my students who've kind of freehand their bodies, they just needed that scale to kind of complement the size that they made. All right, so what we're going to do, you all, your film, the film sheet that I gave you is going to go on top here. It's going to go on top of the size that you chose. Really wonderful. All right, we have our model magic clay. You don't need a whole lot. Usually I start you off with a split amount here. You want to kind of, yeah, this is more than enough. Manipulate it, get it going, soften it up. We call that kneading. But model magic clay, like I said, we have to use it today because overnight it's going to stiffen up to a hardened consistency, more like styrofoam. Okay. So what I like to do, you all, is I like to pull a piece of clay, separate the piece, and put this clay in what I call my clay bank because I'll need that later for other features. So what this does right here, you all, I'm going to use this for my head, and I'm going to place it on top of the film. All right. And what I'm doing is I'm literally using, and you can kind of manipulate it, mold it how you need. And it's okay if it's not perfection. This just kind of helps with your size. Now, if you notice, I'm not flattening it to the tiniest consistency in the world. All right. Just enough that there's some level of thickness. Okay. If you can see them on the side, it needs to be somewhat thick, not super flat. All right. So we have this here. Got your head the way you want. All right. And then I'll pull my clay from my clay bank. And if you notice, I made the neck separate. Some students attach it. That's fine because I just do it based on arranging. This shape can be a little cool, unique. And then I've given you guys this little modeling tool here to kind of help you out. And like it is, you use that template to kind of help you build the shape. And it's okay to move it like, oh, okay, that's about right here. I find that shape there. And I could probably do this with my hand, pinch it. Again, I want to have, this looks more like a triangle, but it'll work for what I'm trying to do. Okay, that's pretty close. So I got my little piece of my neck there. Again, that's something you can later attach later on. And then I have, go back to my clay bank again, and I am going to work on my hand. So I make a coil, and you just roll the coil back and forth. Okay, let me show my camera. You guys can see that pretty well. I'm going to roll my little clay back and forth. And I just kind of pull it to make it fit, shape it as best as I can. Shape, shape, shape. That's extra. I don't need all of that. Okay. And this stuff stretches, so it's really good. So I just know here, my hand looks like this. I can pinch it just a little bit more and move it too, just to kind of help you see what is it supposed to look like. All right. So again, I just kind of put that in there, get it the way I need it, use my modeling tool to get it the way I want, using the template to kind of help me build the shape. Build that shape really nicely. Okay, so you're going to work that. All right, so that's the hand there. Of course, you can build it some more, then I'll get another piece of clay and do my other hand. All right, so we're going to mold that as well. Get that on there. It does not have to be super perfect, but you just kind of want to shape it to get it the way you want it to go. Okay, I know that's going to go there. Miss Davis trying to beat this timer so you guys can see. And of course, I'll come around and help you as needed. All right, so we got one hand, this hand, okay? All right, so with the face, what I like to do with the face, the features, we're going to come in definitely a little bit more here with the features. So what I like to do, I like to take my fingers right about here, and I like to press there to make a demarcation mark for the eyes. Now, you can easily just poke holes and stretch it like the original picture of the screen. Get your holes there. Stretch the mouth. And we kind of have like a little scary mask there. You can do all of that. But I like to take it a step further. So I like to push this in, okay? And you all, I like to create a nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm molding almost like a teardrop shape like this. Now look how chunky it is, like a little teardrop, raindrop. And I'm going to place it here and pull it onto making the bridge of my nose. I want to build a nose for my character. I can take my tool, spread it out. Okay. Got my clay bank here. And I'm going to press the eyeballs in there. Press the eyeball in here. That's the beauty of Model Magic Clay. All right. So I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to put a little pupil, make a tinier little ball of clay, put my little pupil there. And again, I'm not smashing it in there. I'm just kind of really creating a little three-dimensional shape there. And then I'm going to roll some really tiny coil here. Very tiny coil. And I am going to make me an eyebrow. Well, my character's a little scared here. Okay. And throw on an eyebrow. And you guys have your character, okay? So you're going to have a little bit more time to really doctor it up, dolly it, and mold. And you have plenty of clay left. So if you want to add hair, maybe you want to add a little hat, bow, different things, you can do those things. But this gives you your basis. Now, when you're ready, we can let these dry, or we can just peel this off and place it onto your painting. All right, so this is where we're going to go. And the next step is placing it. All right, let's go ahead and get started.